Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves in the midst of Disney's big venture into the role of streaming, having started a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and rule on what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus. And tonight, folks, oh boy, call M. Night Shyamalan because we've got a twist. It's Moon Knight, The Tomb.
Yeah, talking episode 4 with special guest Mutale Munashiko.
Hello, hey everybody.
So, Mutale, what have you been thinking of the show so far?
I'm really enjoying the show. I think this is one of my most anticipated Disney Plus shows because with Moon Knight, I'm just going to talk about just how much I know about him before I just talk about the show. I first heard about him in Spider-Man Web of Shadow. I don't know if you remember that game.
I think, I remember Web of Shadow.
Yeah, he was like this other character you could summon with Spider-Man. That's my first introduction to him. And then when this show was announced, I was really interested in him. So I did read mostly the modern comics in the 2000s and 2010s, and I really love the character, and I'm overall really enjoying what they're doing with the show, and even with the changes that they've made, I really like that as well. So I'm really happy with it. I think it is currently right now is my favorite Marvel show. Just hopefully if the episodes 5 and 6 are good, it'll stay that way.
Yeah, we're coming down to the final stretch with 2 episodes. Now that I realize it, yeah. So, I mean, this episode particularly, this one, here's the thing, there was a little bit of a rough patch in this episode for me, but it won me over, though. Obviously, with the big twist, it won me over.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I mean, there's a little bit there where I was thinking, maybe we're riding a little bit heavy on the kind of our Mummy Tomb Raider kind of stuff for a spell. Just for a little bit, I was a little like...
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have that at all. I was loving it, but that's fine.
Well, here's the thing. It was one specific...
yes, it is. Like, at this point, it is pretty much one for one. This is basically a Mark Summers Mummy movie. But what's wrong with that, man?
No, that's the thing. I don't have a problem with that, but there's one section where I think we've been doing such a good job to it. Then there's one section where I don't think we shot it the best way we could, and it was a little like, I'm a little out of it. A little like it kind of lost me for the first time in the show watch. He was like, but again, it was only for like a little bit in the episode, and it instantly won me over.
Well, that section made me imagine what if the 2015 Mummy movie was like this. It would have been much better.
Well, like the 2017 one with Tom Cruise, yeah.
2017.
Yeah, so again, this episode ultimately really won me over when I was kind of wavering for a bit. But yeah, I liked it, though. So, Tiki, what did you think?
Yeah, so I've had a really busy week at work. I've basically been holding down the fort on my own. So I actually I didn't have a chance to watch this episode until this morning. And all I can say is, like, holy mother of God, how did I not have everything spoiled for me? Oh, my God, I must have been dodging bullet after bullet with that. Because let's just say I find it really interesting because, Dragon, I don't know if you remember this, but the critics, they all got access to the first 4 episodes. And I think a lot of us are like, okay, that's a little too many episodes. Like, it's kind of like, it sort of sucks that we're basically kind of playing catch up to the critics. But after watching this, I'm like, okay, that's exactly why they specifically gave the critics 4 episodes. I think this episode is bonkers. I love the mummy stuff. I love the twist stuff. This might be a hot take, but I think this is maybe far and away the best episode of any of the Disney Plus Marvel shows so far. I pretty much loved everything about this. And this is coming from somewhere it's like, I've really been liking Moon Knight, but I will admit some of the mythology has gotten a little bit over my head. And with this twist, I mean, it's like all bets are off. It's like, let's see what goes down now. But anyway.
Okay. Well, I guess is looking for a place to start. I mean, do we talk about the twist first? Do we talk about the other stuff? Like, where
Maybe
do
we
you want
could
to
talk
start?
about the mummy stuff, but maybe just talk about the
Okay,
mummy stuff. Go to the twist.
so I like us. Like first of all, Layla, she saves Steven, saves his bacon, in the desert, which again, I like that we're kind of calling out, like, yeah, he was knocked out. And there are probably going to be people coming for him, so they're not exactly out of the woods. She did some awesome stuff with like the flare and the munitions and everything. That was all really good, and we have kind of like a new status quo going on here. Where okay, it's a new ball game. There's no suit, as Mark says in the episode, like, hey, no suit, no healing. We're we're in quite the bit of danger here.
Mm-hmm.
And Layla is kind of in control of the adventure for the majority of this. So I like the relationship that she and Stephen Stephen Grant develop. He's honesty, as he puts it.
Mm-hmm.
It's. I mean, I love Stephen exploring the Egyptian tombs. That like the beginning of the tomb stuff, I'm loving because he's finally getting to do what he's always dreamed of, and with a beautiful woman. And all that's great. And it's like a race to find the Amit statue before Hara does. Like all that, I'm in for. But then we have like kind of this vague, amorphous, like Egyptian sorceress minion creature thing that's
Yeah,
shot
yeah.
completely in darkness. Like that's the bit that took me out of it. Like, yeah.
Okay, that's funny. So Dragon, I like Better Call Saul this week. I actually kind of like did a little bit of a nitpick about like, oh, some of the stuff is a little bit too darkly lit. I actually did not mind the way that this was shot.
God.
And I'll tell you why. Because from a horror movie angle, I feel like what they are doing here is they are employing a trick where it's like the creature design is more terrifying in your own mind. So you're kind of like you're imagining the full extent of what this creature looks like without actually fully seeing it. And that to me was super effective, especially because I thought the sound design was exquisite.
I mean,
And if you're going to do something like this, if you're going to hide,
it made that sound.
Yeah, that really kind of got under my skin.
I was surprised how much it did, and even with the blood in the, it was really really effective.
Yeah,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like the whole setup with the tomb and the blood, like I don't know, Dragon. This is like, there's plenty of times where we disagree, and that's totally fine. But this is definitely one of those spots where I actually thought this was a highlight of the episode. I think maybe besides the twist, this might be my favorite section of the episode. Especially because I absolutely adore how the flare comes back. And the way that the flare gets used, I think is absolutely the thing that Moon Knight has pulled most out of the Mark Summers Mummy playbook, right? It's exactly that sort of like Rune Goldberg, like, I don't know, Rune Goldberg.
Mummy. For the Brendan Fraser mummy.
Yeah. It's like it's exactly the type of sort of crazy like theatrical action, and the callback comedy and stuff like that. I don't know. I really loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess ultimately for me, I'm not saying like there isn't like a good element of that sequence. I mean, I guess I take your point. With what you don't see is more scary. But even though, I mean, I kind of need to know what they're up against, and it's sort of like I know it's vague Egyptian creatures just kind of there now that I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't. The Anubis jackal thing. Okay, it's a jackal coming after him in the museum, and then it's like later on it's invisible. At least I get the idea there. It was kind of thrown at you, and then it's like she's fighting something kind of in the darkness. She's being pulled around by it while Mark's doing all the kind of more exciting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Steven's doing all the more exciting stuff. To me, like the whole Alexander I love the Alexander the Great thing. I love the whole like sorry, Mr. the Great. As he's like digging into the mummy. Like the whole like the idea of the voice of a myth thing, like the Eye of Horus being like a map. Like all that was really cool to me.
Yeah, it was really cool actually. Just the way Steven drew it was like the pretty accurate drawing, which was very impressive.
Yeah,
and just the set design as well. I really like. It was very. I was loving it from like like a person who Temple of Doom is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. I love this sort of temple exploration stuff. Like it's really my jam when it comes to adventure stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I was really into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. By the way, during all this, I love that Mark and Stephen Grant, they're kind of forging a bond, which both, before and after the twist is really sweet. After the twist, it gets even better. But I just love that, like, they're kind of forging a bond and working together, even though they kind of made this deal where Stephen's going to be in control versus relinquishing the body. And
Yeah.
they're sort of like kind of like they're he's saying, hey, you told her the truth, which I didn't have the guts to do, and he kind of respects him for it and all that sort of stuff. And like they're
Mhm.
making quite the good team.
Although there's still the thing of Steven loving Layla.
Well, yeah, but I
That's
mean they're
that
the
makes
same
it a
guy, though,
little
so it's kind of like
yeah.
it's not really cheating if it's the same guy, though, right?
Yeah, so yeah.
You know?
But Oscar Isaac, man, just the physical comedy of like him taking the punch to himself and falling down the hole.
Great.
Mhm.
Now, speaking of Mark, though, we tee up the origin big time here. Haro kind of taunting Layla with the truth, and then it comes out.
I love when Haro first appears in the episode. By the way,
Ethan Hawke has not been dropping the ball at all this season,
No,
man.
it's been
He's
great.
might be one of our best villains in the Disney Plus
and
series.
I don't know if the dude walks around with glass all the time, but every time I see him, I just kind of assume that he's walking around with glass in his
Oh, he is.
shoes.
Oh,
Oh
it's every
yeah,
time. Oh, he's
yeah.
got glass in his shoes in all those scenes. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of learned that. So what we kind of verify here is that Mark, we're pretty much doing the Moon Knight origin verbatim. It seems. I mean,
Yeah, it's
yeah. I forget if it was Bushwhacker or what, but whoever
his name's Raoul Bushman. He was
Bushman, right?
yeah, he was Moon Knight's partner who, like Mark says, got greedy and then killed everyone and Layla's in the comics, he had a different love. Her name was Marlene. That was her
Right.
name in the comics, but he had changed to Layla. But yeah, it's pretty accurate to like the origin and stuff.
So yeah, the fact is, like, we haven't. A lot of people are speculating. We might not go the full Bushman with our guy who turned on him. It's unclear. I'm still waiting, and again, I'm hoping we get to this in the next episode. By the way,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
hoping at
thinking.
some point we
Yeah,
do
I'm hoping
flash
so
the
too.
full on. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I was gonna say. I hope we get to actually see, because apparently the 5th episode. Yeah, we're gonna see Mark's past, and I think we may also see like his origin and stuff like that.
That's the
That'd
thing.
be
That's
cool.
like the thing we've been teeing up. I just really want to get to at some point, just to kind of see it, because it's been so well built up. I think, and again, penultimately, it could really help the story. Especially, like, how can you do? It would be a way of getting Moon Knight in the story without having Moon Knight in there too, which be
Mm-hmm.
with him currently being out of the equation. Anyway, so
Can I just say one thing?
sure.
He's not actually named Moon Knight in the show yet. I wonder if, like, by the end, maybe he'll get the name somehow.
That's a good point. I mean, yeah, you're right. He hasn't been called that officially. Yeah. Huh.
This is an
Yeah.
observation. I just
No, it's a fair point. But I guess like Khonshu probably would have named him Moon Knight. You're an emissary of me, so you're a Moon Knight. I don't know.
Well,
It's a guess.
it's usually, I think it's a line in the comics where he says he's like the Moon's Knight of Vengeance.
Yeah.
That's usually something he says. So I could see it, like he could just pull the name like Moon Knight from that.
I'm imagining if we do a flashback, that's probably like he'll say, "You get to be my moon, you get to be my Knight of Vengeance." Essentially.
Yeah, he says something like that. Actually, yeah, Mark says that like in the comics when he like comes back to life, he says like a line like that.
So regardless, so yeah, we kind of confirmed that he didn't pull the trigger on her father, but he definitely kind of led her father to her doom, and he knew it, and he felt guilty about it. So again, Layla, a lot of complex feelings here, feeling rather hurt by her husband, and then ultimately her husband gets killed in front of her again, like shot twice by Haro, and Haro has the big eerie line that's going to make us guess later on, like, "I can't save anyone who doesn't want to save themselves."
And then so that they basically get swept up into the further, for anyone who's seen it, Get Out.
So yeah, so Mark gets shot and he's fallen into some water, and then we wake up in essentially. So this is based on, and I read this comic, but essentially I've seen like some of the cover art from it. This is the Jeff Lemire.
It's the Jeff Lemire run. It's inspired from that.
Or again, in premise,
Really cool to see. Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, you're right. It is really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, in general, Moon Knight, again, the big sell with the character. And I like that we kind of found a way to kind of double down on it. So there's all about the ambiguity of like, even when you think you know Moon Knight, it's like there's still elements like, how crazy is he? Where just when you thought you had a handle on, okay, well, no, the Egyptian stuff is real, but then is it?
Mhm.
We feel, oh God, he's like a step away from being like wearing the white bag on his head, a little red blood moon symbol on it, like that Jeff Lemire cover. Like, oh God, he's in a cuckoo house right now. He's
Oh, but don't forget about the reveal of how we reveal this through the kind of like
VHS.
the old Doctor Who style. It's basically like a mix of like Doctor Who and like the Mummy, essentially.
Yeah. So it's
Tomb
Tomb Buster. It's so Stephen Grant essentially was an archaeologist from this VHS tape adventure of which basically inspired. Initially what I thought it was, okay, so we're confirming Mark Spector's the guy and Stephen Grant is definitely like a personality. And
Mhm.
like and they're inspired by this tape, but then we went kind of full tilt with, okay, maybe it's not anything that you thought was salient or real at all. We're okay, so it's Mark Spector, crazy man in a psychiatric hospital, almost comatose because they keep him sedated because he keeps trying to flee and panicking anytime anyone asks him a question. The bit that had me so jazzed out of my mind was the Moon Knight action figure.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So essentially, this kind of turns into like a perverse Wizard of Oz in some ways.
I mean, yeah.
You were there, and you were there.
Yep, all the co-workers and everything, like the guy in the gold statue guy, Crowley, I think his name is. Well,
Yeah,
I think of Good Omens now, but I'm sorry, what Mutale?
Yeah, Bertrand Crowley, that's his name.
Crowley, yes. Then you have like Donna at the museum, and there's a lot of the characters that the guy who's in the previous episode was working for Gaspar Ullian's character. Was it? I don't know if it was not Midnight or something. It was anyway. But yeah,
it was also interesting. Sorry if I just may add, was when Mark was on that wheelchair, and when he fell down, he had that brace around his leg.
Yep, he was tethered just like the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like a lot of great callbacks, and so they keep you guessing. It goes full Shyamalan here.
And then, okay, you want to know, Dragon? Guess what had me geeking out the most during this? Just guess. It's something that I've been referencing before on the podcast.
I don't know what he got.
Ethan Hawke's mustache.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Ethan Hawke. I didn't figure the mustache was gonna get you.
I was like, there it is. There it is. There's the classic Ethan Hawke look.
Yep.
Oh my God, I was geeking out so hard at that.
So Haro is his psychiatrist.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love how Ethan Hawke is playing this. Like, oh, it's so good.
Because he's playing it genuinely helpful.
I'm geeking out.
Because he's really good. He's playing it genuinely helpful and like, no,
yes,
listen, Mark. He's not playing it sinister, really. He's just kind of.
I just love that moment where the orderlies come in and he's like, "Please don't hurt him."
Yep.
Yeah.
He's doing a number on those orderlies. They're like biting them. And
he is, yeah.
So yeah, and just the idea. I love how Oscar Isaac is conveying fear and panic in that scene when he realizes, "Oh, you shot me," and he just runs. Like, oh, he's so good.
Yeah, it was really, you just really feel for him. Feel for him. Like just like how just so confused and vulnerable he is.
Well, we as an audience are essentially in his position where we're like, wait, what? What's going on? Our whole reality is being shattered right now. The reality in the context of the show.
Now, Mutale, have you read the Jeff Lemire run by any chance?
Yes, I have. I reread it before watching the show. Yeah, I reread it before watching the show.
So let me ask you this. In the Lemire run, like assuming we do a setup somewhat similar, like he's in an asylum, like do we play with him for a while as like he is like genuinely just the crazy guy,
how they do because the doctor there, instead of like being
Haro,
it's doctor name's Dr. Emmett, and she's actually Amit, the actual lady that Haro actually wants to
free right now,
Shotgun wants to free. But and we play out with that where she just says about how that he's been there since he was 12 and that Moon Knight isn't real, just sort of playing up with his mind that it's just all been in his head. So it really just it does the same thing as well, which is really really cool. So yeah, it does the same thing. Although except the two gods that try to sedate Mark in the comic, it's there was a black guy and there was a white guy. That was just the difference.
I see. Let me, that actually gives me a good idea. I didn't thought of this. So, again, if it is a myth, it's traditionally, if that's kind of a myth behind this, that makes this seem make a lot. Originally, my theory was, this is like this whole thing's a construct as like some, like, I don't know if it somehow would be Khonshu or whoever is like somehow the gods or maybe the hippo goddess, we'll get to that, is healing him. That's initially what I thought, but if it's a myth, that makes me think of two possibilities in this case. Now I'm thinking, perhaps Haro is using his staff to get inside of his head and basically just taking the voice of a myth thing they just kind of stole from the mummy.
Yeah.
Or it's basically him touching that thing, in basically him holding that thing he just got out of Alexander the Great. Basically a myth. I assume like a statue of a myth or something. Basically, it might be a myth just at work, just him in the possession of that, perhaps. Like one of those two things.
Yeah, because in the comic it was actually I think Khonshu that was controlling it. So yeah, I can see it being in the show. It's it could be Haro actually doing it.
I mean, we'll I guess we'll find out next week. But yeah, it's interesting to say the least. I mean, regardless, I like that we're in Mark's head in a huge way here, because I love that when we go down the corridors, you see these sarcophaguses kind of like shaking, and ultimately inside one of them is Stephen Grant. Now we saw another one, the one that's in the image here,
yes,
that was shaking, a red one. Now a lot of people, I'm just saying, if Stephen's in one, maybe another personality's in this, and a lot of people have been waiting for this guy to show up, Jake Lockley, the PI,
Jake Lockley
character. So yeah, he could absolutely be in that sarcophagus, and that'd be an interesting reveal.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say also as well that hug that Stephen and Mark gave each other was also similar to something that Lemire did as well, which I
thought that was so precious, man. I just love
it really was.
Been on such a journey, and and seriously, they've been on such a journey together and looking for like some sanity, and the closest thing to sanity they have is like, oh, my split personality. He's like my brother from another mother. He's like, hey, come here, buddy.
Okay,
I'm not crazy.
There was a moment in this episode where I was just like, oh my God, Oscar Isaac is just so good at playing two different personalities. And it's a very simple moment. It's just when the two of them are running down the hallway together, and you see Mark with kind of like the determined like pace, and then Steven's kind of just like fumbling behind him. And it's like, without saying a word, like just through the sheer body language, we know exactly who each of these two guys are. I love that. I'm so impressed with him.
Yeah, I just love the genuineness. Again, I've been so invested in Stephen Grant, and this character keeps getting more interesting for me. As like the
I was a little on the fence about Stephen Grant even through the pilot, but yeah, I've definitely warmed up to him.
So I think the best part of the episode for me, the ending I think is just priceless. I think the ending is just so darn great.
The ending is just total. Like I don't even want to know what the ending's about. Like honestly, like. If there is a comic explanation, which I'm sure it is, I honestly don't even want to know it. I just want to go into next episode just blind.
Well, I mean, it's not. I don't really know anything. I don't know I know what the deal is. I don't know what the implications are or anything. I don't know why this character's there. Yeah.
You know who the hippo's supposed to be?
What?
It's supposed to. I think her name is Towerette.
Yeah, Towerette or something.
Okay,
it's like this a hippo god of fertility or something.
Yeah, the goddess of fertility.
I just love the fact that this hippo has like the most casual, friendly voice, though.
Hi.
Hi.
That's now. Here's what I know in conjunction with the show, though. All I know, the only thing I know is like it was a very small Easter egg in the first episode, where at the gift shop, like, oh yeah, the little hippo god. And lo and behold, so that's the only thing I really can piece together from why she's there. I can't really tell you. I guess to help him get out of Dodge, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if secretly this is going to be revealed to be a myth. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be a myth.
Probably not, because a myth's probably going to be more scary than the friendly hippo saying hello.
Yeah. Well, also she's going to have.
Oh my God! It's a hippo from Disney's live action Fantasia. Run for your life.
No, seriously, I mean, it's less the hype. It's more like just the dual Oscar Isaac just screaming bloody murder.
Yes,
Just, I just think it's the most perfect ending to an episode. But yes,
It just like smash to credits.
yes.
Dragon, now that is a Kevin Smith fucking credits moment right
Ah!
there.
It was actually really funny with Mark. He had a more lower pitch scream, where Stevens was just like really loud.
Yeah, totally.
It's hilarious.
Totally.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, so good. So good. Okay, so yeah, I think we could all agree this is a pretty damn good episode. I'm like up until now, I've pretty much just been going with the show. Like, all right, let's see what next episode holds. Now I'm stoked. Now I'm just like, all right, next episode cannot get here soon enough.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts?
What do you got, Mutale? You got anything you want to speculate on before the for the last 2 episodes?
Okay, as far as so I think 5th episode, we're gonna probably learn more about Mark's past, and his origin, which is also something the Lemire run did as well. And also, I don't know if like when Jake, I think we may also see like Jake Lockley come as well in the 5th episode as well. I don't know if he's gonna have another Moon Knight suit, because that's something Oscar Isaac did hint that he does have, since with Mark he has the Moon Knight suit, and then Steven the Mr. Knight. So
yeah.
you think logically Jake would have, and I don't know what it would look like, if it would look like the costume he did, the black and white costume he wore in the 2014 run, or there was also another Moon Knight costume in the Ultimate run. And then I think in the 6th episode, and also he's also gonna find a way to free Khonshu, and then Arthur, then him and Arthur are gonna fight, because there's like in one of the TV spots, there's like a shot against the moon with Moon Knight and Arthur running towards each other and fighting. So I know that's gonna happen. I don't know. I hope it's like at least done really well, and it's not like a bad CG fight. I hope it's really cool. So I guess that's as far as speculation. Oh, and one more thing as well, in the credits, I don't know if you noticed, like the moons gets full with each episode. That's also another thing.
No, I didn't notice that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right. There we go.
All right. Well, Mutale, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Okay.
I was really excited. I was really excited. Looking forward to talking about this with you guys.
I think this is a good episode to do it too. I mean, this is it's definitely water cooler. Like I said, I'm kind of shocked that I didn't like have details of this spoiled for me just through pop culture osmosis.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that'll do it for us this week as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mano y mano. Just Plus and Us.
Hi.
Cheers, guys.